Okay, episode 3, the AI digital resume that every real estate agent needs. Ryan, what is a digital resume?
I don't know. I think you made it up.
I did. I coined it. The digital resume.
You coined it.
did.
I think I'm gonna go with that. The digital AI resume is basically all of the information that every realtor needs across the web. Make sure it's consistent, and make sure people can validate who they are, how many transactions they've done, where their most popular profiles are. Did I get close? You gave me a 7 out of 10 on the last episode. I'm going to give you a 6 out of 10. Just Okay,
because it's worse than 7.
What would it take to get to the 7? Apart from like maybe having
I'd
a
have
thicker
to say
bit.
it. I'd have to say it.
No. You got to be stealing my jokes. Like this is
You'd have to say
almost
it like
as close
me.
to blasphemy, man. Come on.
Yeah. Digital resume, AI digital resume. Look, every agent has a bio, right? Every agent has a resume, and we're going to look at some today that are lacking. In fact, let me throw a stat out here, Ryan. 100% of real estates have outdated bios.
100%.
I just made that up.
Okay,
but it's true. It's true.
We need another stat. How many headshots are outdated as a percentage? Do you reckon?
I'll say 99%, and that 1% are agents who got their license this year and have a new photo.
That's fair. Do you know what? I see that on Instagram last night, actually. There was a lady who joined in January 2024, and it's the first time that I've seen a video match the photo. And I was like, she has to be new. And then, like you said, she was new to the game.
Brand new. Yeah. Agents, it's like a running joke in the industry. We don't update our headshots nearly enough. And with AI, you
did like 2 transactions in the last 5 years. Come on.
I don't have my wallet on me. I was going to pull up my license.
I bet you do that at like bars and stuff. Oh, you want to sell your home?
Well, it's funny. I was talking to a client trying to help her with her Google business profile. We'll probably get into that on this pod.
Yeah.
And I was like, submit that. She has to go through the appeal process, which is a huge pain in the ass with Google. And I said, you got to submit something with your address on it. I said, submit your real estate license. Like, that doesn't have your address. She goes, no, actually it does. So I had to pull up my wallet, looked at it. I'm like, oh yeah, it does have my address. That's how often I look at my own license. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So the AI digital resume, it's different from a human resume, right? This one is specifically built for the machines, right? The large language models. So we're going to cover that today. How to assemble this, how to update this, what's missing from yours, so you can go. And what's the overall goal here? The overall goal is to help you become the agent in your market that AI recommends. If your bio is lackluster, if your bio is blank, it's only going to make it harder for you. Especially, and this really, I think, this is for the agents who. I'll put it this way: if you're a top producing agent in your market and you Google who's the best agent in wherever you are, and you're not appearing, and you should be, this is probably one of the signals that's missing that we need to close the gap.
Yeah, I tell you who isn't going to be ranking as the best agent in Upton, Massachusetts. It's Tim Harvey.
I think I am in the Map Pack, bud. I am there with 1 review, maybe 2. Yes, I am number 2. But this is not. This is small market. Okay.
It's a small market, and you're well known, well respected, so it plays a massive role in that.
Yeah, people are going to be watching this like, this guy's got 2 transactions. Why should I listen to him? I'm not a full-time real estate agent, y'all. I've been in real estate marketing for 10 years. I just happen to get the license because I want to be able to walk the walk. So thank you, Ryan, for calling me out.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, must-haves. Let's go. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. Listen. I'll hold you accountable. I'll try to do it less on the podcast because we're on the same team here. We're separated by a big pond, but we're ultimately on the same team.
We are brothers from another mother.
We are brothers.
Okay, I got thick skin anyway. All right, so the profile must-haves. Let's get into the profiles that every agent has. Most of these profiles these agents have. So we'll just start there, what they need, and then we'll get into what we need to make sure is on these profiles. So what's the first one we want to talk about? First profile.
I think the first thing I would like to point out before we jump into the must-haves and the structure and how it's supposed to look, I think the most important thing is I like to start with what you absolutely shouldn't do, which is use marketing speak as your bio. And this is where the real big difference between potentially a human CV where, you're trying to sell yourself, you want the job real bad, so you're talking about your experience and all this real fancy, funky way, but it's very different. LLMs do not care about you using real sexy adjectives about your marketing history or your sales history. So I think the immediate thing to not do is to structure your bio as if you were reading or preparing a short novel. So we'll start there, and then we'll now look at let's start with Zillow. Let's go with the big obvious one that most agents have.
Yeah. I was gonna add some color commentary there. I think so. We're talking about the distinction between humans reading a bio and the machines reading a bio. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say humans aren't reading that either. Right? They're not gonna read the huge paragraph of absolute fluff. But agents do. Why do agents do this? I think agents do this because this is what they see other agents doing, and so they're doing more of the same. And so we're trying to help you stand out so the consumer is reading something that is actually useful when deciding who to use as the real estate agent. But most importantly, as we head into 2026 and into the future, it's about what the machines are reading, what they want to know. So Zillow, number one, every agent probably, if you're listening to this, you have a Zillow profile. Right, Zillow is one of the top. I would say Zillow, Fast Expert, Rate My Agent, some cases even Yelp, is probably one of the strongest profiles that the models, the machines are looking at. To when you're asking who's the best real estate agent in Upton, Mass, it's going to go to Zillow for a couple different reasons. Right, one reason being it's looking at reviews and it's looking at your production. Zillow has both of those signals.
Yeah, and it's another thing as well is Zillow is and has been one of the strongest trusted sources for like a decade. So ChatGPT is not going to try and reinvent the wheel. It knows that it can pull information from there and it be fairly accurate and up to date. So as with anything, like if you go to do something today for your great collared shirts, I don't know where you get them from in America. I don't know what the dad stores are, but let's just say you have a favorite, which I'm sure you do. You're always going to go there. You're like I know I can get my collared flowered shirt from this shop, right? So
I actually don't go to stores. Yeah, I go online, and it's for guys who are 5'9" and shorter. True story.
2 inches higher than what you need to be shopping for.
Yeah. So then I got to get them tailored and shrunk down a little bit. Yeah. I forget the name of it, but yeah, it's for guys that are they're great fits, man.
The long tail. We're playing into the long tail. It's almost like this. What we speak about on the pod for real estate translates to real life. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a callback. All right. So Zillow, I'll throw Realtor.com in there as well. AI leans heavily into industry platforms. These are the massive industry platforms when I'll say judging an agent's credibility. Mm-hmm. Number two, let's just get this one out of the way. GBP, Google Business Profile, right? Verified, up to date. You need reviews. You need fresh photos. You need to keep adding photos to the profile. Google's looking at, you can speak to this better than I can, but Google is looking for fresh information. So consistent reviews, replying to reviews, adding new photos. You can add products there as well. If you aren't doing that regularly, it looks like it's a stale profile. Stale account.
Yeah, and you could apply that to any profile, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want. If it feels dead and outdated, chances are it's going to be, I guess the word is not considered. So yeah, good point on that one. And it is a pain in the ass. Like, don't get me wrong, updating everything all of the time is a real hamster wheel, but it's a part of business. So you don't know where people are going. They're going to interact. There might be a Zillow, it might be a GPP, it might be your Instagram profile. You don't want to run the risk of having one of them appear dead in case that is the touch point your particular market references the most. Yeah,
I like that. And then let me talk about two more. So everything we've already said, every agent's like, yeah, we know this information, but we're going to also help you improve, your bios here in a minute. Now, Fast Expert. A lot of agents don't know Fast Expert. They're hearing more about Fast Expert. Rate My Agent's another one. The models, these machines tend to reference Fast Expert more than Google, more than Zillow. And the answer is, do you know the answer, Ryan? I'm going to put you on the spot for a change.
The answer to why they use Fast Expert?
Yeah, over Zillow or over Google. If I were to right now search who's the best agent in Upton, I could almost guarantee it's going to be pulling the citations. If it said Tim Harvey, the citation would be from Fast Expert.
If it said Tim Harvey. Do you mean when it says Tim Harvey?
When it says Tim Harvey.
Notoriety precedes you. Do you know what? I'm gonna let you break it down to me, because I saw an Instagram reel only yesterday from you, and you described it so eloquently that I feel almost honored to hear you say it live.
Yeah. Well, I just asked chat. So
Why'd you do this, chat?
What? I did, because it's funny. I never did that. I had an agent. There's a Facebook group that we're in, really well-known Facebook group for agents, and she had asked, "What's more important today? Is it Zillow? You're getting more reviews on Zillow or Google?" And I jumped in. I was like, I'm of the opinion it's Fast Expert. And she said, "Yeah, but the consumer's not going to Fast Expert." And she's not wrong. Consumers aren't going to Fast Expert like they are going to Google Profile or Zillow, but the machines are. And then she asked the question, "Why?" I'm like, "Damn, it's a good question. Let me ask chat. Why are you using Fast Expert?" And it boiled down to this: Zillow has a pay-to-play model, right? So it convolutes it. It makes the machines not trust Zillow as necessarily a credible source, because you can game the game. And with Google isn't showing your production. When I say Google, I'm talking about GBP, right? Or GMB, as it used to be referred. It's a reflection of your service. It's just reviews. So it's more of a reflection of service than anything. Whereas Fast Expert, what you have there is you have reviews, and you can pull. It's not as if if you don't have this, if you're not claimed your Fast Expert profile, go claim it, and don't feel like you're starting at zero, because you can import your reviews from Zillow, in production from Zillow. Rate My Agent allows you to import from Zillow and Google. So set those up, and you can import that. It's relatively easy to do. It's very easy to do. So Google is simply a reflection of your service versus production, meaning that the machines are over-indexing when it's trying to decide as objectively as possible who is the best agent in this given market. It's looking at production. So this is me going back to the early point. If you are a top producing agent in your market, hey, I've got way more transactions than these agents that Chad is saying are the best agents. Why am I not there? You likely need to go to and set up your Fast Expert and Rate My Agent profiles, and it can be that simple.
Huge nugget. It's always the areas. It's like when you lose your keys. It's always the last place you look. And Fast Expert, Rate My Agent, potentially other review platforms that agents don't consider. It's because, like you said, consumers don't go there. The agents likely don't go there. But it's just like this little secret part of the internet that I just checked while you were talking, by the way. They do about 250,000 visits a month, Fast Expert. So it's nowhere near as large as Zillow or Realtor.com, but it is still a good source of traffic for agents that they can leverage. And whether or not you get, because I know in my mind every agent's like, can I get business from that platform? Directly, probably not. Indirectly, absolutely.
Okay.
I like that one. I like
no further comment.
I feel like we should put that on a billboard somewhere. Maybe it might be a little bit. Billboards are coming back. ChatGPT is going to drive everybody to billboard advertising only.
yeah. All right, here's another one. LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We all have LinkedIn profiles. Okay. So it's your professional anchor bio, if I can call it that. Like, AI is looking for legitimacy. So what's AI doing? When in the 60 seconds it's thinking about who the top agent is, it's looking to connect the dots. So can it find your your quality of service in the volume of reviews and them being good reviews, 5-star reviews? Is it looking at can it find your production? And then LinkedIn, it's looking again for the legitimacy in your career history. Is that on your LinkedIn profile? If it's not, it needs to be there.
Yeah, and I saw this recently. We actually spoke about this. Was it last week? I forget. Where the LinkedIn platform itself, because AI is leaning so heavily into things like Reddit, Quora, Facebook, Instagram, these kind of social platforms, LinkedIn kind of bubbled up, and I saw traffic go up like 2.5 times in the last 6 to 8 weeks. So not only is it worthwhile from your perspective to make sure you can connect the dots and you are who you say you are, I think it's like 60 or 70% of real estate agents should have or do have a LinkedIn profile. But because you do that, it's a bit like we said on the other podcast about YouTube. You get it right, and then when AI finally decides to use that site, which it will, if you're first, you reap the rewards. Don't do this reactively. Do it proactively.
Yeah. Are there any other profiles that we need to talk about?
I think you've covered the main ones. There's obviously like your individual local directories. One of the big one is like your Chamber of Commerce, your bbb.org profile, so your Better Business Bureau profile. You've got a free and a paid version, but again, super high trustworthy site. You've got all of your social profiles, your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever else, X if you use that. I don't know if you do. And then the only other kind of profiles that exist, if you do this, if you are this type of agent and you are, this real big in the game, like Chris Spiker, for example, like if you've got profiles on like Inman News, or you write for your local magazine or your local newspaper because you do it on a Sunday and you fancy it, if you have that profile married up, local is just as good as high authority. Just to clarify what we've just spoken about is high authority profiles. So your big, generic, industry specific. The next level of profiles that people need to get is local specific. So your directories, your local press, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think agents are, even with LinkedIn, I think they're quick to say, I'm not getting hired from here, so I'm going to put little or no effort into it. But again, this is your AI digital resume, right? Which means we're trying to help the models pick you. And so if you don't have a presence there, or it's outdated information, it's only going to hurt you. Right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
Okay. Google, Zillow, Realtor.com, Fast Expert. Don't forget about that one. Rate My Agent, LinkedIn, and also we didn't mention website, but your bio on your website. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So like if you've done this for Zillow, just make sure that it marries up to what's on your website. Make sure it's accurate.
We've been saying this for 6 months now.
I know, it feels very basic. It feels silly to actually even talk about, right?
I know it feels like we've moved on so far, but we have to keep reminding this, that the basics work, the foundation stuff works, the framework needs to be built for a reason. So with that, I think it would be really interesting, as long as you're on board, if we start looking at what a good consistent profile looks like, what the bio looks like versus potentially one that is not so great. Does that sound like?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Before I do that, let's just talk for 2 minutes about how AI is reading this information. Because what we said is get these profiles set up and get them up to date. But let's go a little bit deeper into the why. So again, going back to when I'm searching for who's the best real estate agent in Murfreesboro. I always butcher this. My wife was just in Murfreesboro.
Don't try and get me to say it. I'm not going to try and do it.
In Tennessee. My wife was just in Tennessee. So we'll use that. So if I'm searching, or I'm asking chat, who is the best agent in Murfreesboro? God, I should have picked a different city. AI is not just Googling the answer, right? It's scanning sources. It's trying to connect the dots. It's building a consensus. And so having the profile, have the profile. But what I see more often than not, it's not that the agent doesn't have the profile, but there are inconsistencies.
Yep.
Right? Let's talk about the inconsistencies that we see day in, day out. We bring in a new client and we're working with them. I can almost guarantee with 100% certainty that there is some inconsistency in NAP, which is making it harder for Google and these machines to connect the dots that this is all the same business.
Yeah, it's insane. I know I'm relatively new to the industry compared to you, but just the sheer level of name changes, brokerage changes, website changes, office changes, logo differences, telephone updates, that it's like one agent could have 10 different addresses, 3 different phone numbers, 5 different brokerages, 6 different websites, and it's just leaving this big trail of destruction that it's a mess. It is a mess. And it still blows my mind today that, if you moved house, like as a standard rule, you just say, I don't live there anymore. Please send my post to my new address. And if I sign up for a credit card, guess where it's going? It's going to my new address. It's like you change businesses and you're like, that one doesn't exist anymore. We'll just move on. It's, we need to wrap that up, people.
We got to fix that. Look, we don't want to disparage you. We know you're busy. You're out there trying to sell real estate, but please
make it easy.
Make it easy, right? Make it. We're confusing the machines. So your name, I said NAP, name, address, phone number, and I'll say website as well, and I'll throw brokerage in there as well. If your profile says Compass, but you left Compass 2 years ago and your website says Real, that's confusing. If your address is inconsistent, because maybe on one of these platforms or the website, you're using a home address, there's an office address, there's an old address, you've got to standardize this. So standardize your NAP across every platform we just mentioned and didn't mention. Same business name, same address, same brokerage, same phone number. Now, I know in some cases maybe you're using a trackable number like a Google number, but it will only make it harder for the search engines and these language models to realize, oh, this is all the same entity. It lowers trust, right? It's confusing AI.
Yeah, and in the off chance that somebody finds an address from you that's 3 years old or a number from you that's 2 years old, and they try to call that number and there's no forwarding option, or they even turn up to the address and there's just some random person in that house or that office who is not you. Imagine that happening, for example, where you're missing out on leads. This is just, come on, think about this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get into let's
real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick as well, because I want to make sure that we're the first people to do this in any event or case that this becomes common knowledge or common practice. The technical thing that we're setting up here, and me and you actually spoke about this last week, is called a semantic triple. Okay?
Ooh, fancy
right?
word.
And I will see this come out on, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I will see that word come up in different influencers' videos, I suspect, not long after this video goes out. Semantic triple is this is what it means in English, right? Tim Harvey is a real estate agent that sells mid-market luxury homes in Upton, Mass. It is essentially it's like your elevator pitch. It's like, who are you? Where do you work? What do you service, as in the types of homes, and what location you're in? It's name, brand, service, location. It's called a semantic triple, but it's actually 4 different parts of that. And I just want to make sure that
quadruple just doesn't have the same ring.
It just doesn't ring the same.
Semantic quadruple.
We used to do this. I'm just going to real quick throw this off as a story. When I was real deep into SEO and people would try to figure out what I was up to, me and a bunch of friends would write stuff down on a whiteboard that made no sense. It wasn't real. It was a completely made up strategy because we know people would zoom in to the photo and try and figure out what we were doing. So we would send them down like a completely wrong path. And they'd waste all their time and money. It was hilarious.
Yeah. We call that in the Marine Corps counterintelligence.
Yeah, counterintelligence. I was doing it before it was cool.
The Marine Corps bit that off from you.
100%. They stole it from me. It's fairly standard for the Americans to steal from the Brits. With the profiles, the semantic.
You're not getting your colonies back.
We don't want them. Keep them. When you look at the profiles, I want you to identify the kind of semantic triple setup.
Rattle those 4 off again.
So it's name, brand, service, location.
Name, brand, service, location. And how would you
if you don't,
what's the distinction between name and brand for real estate?
So that if for example you're not part of a brokerage or you don't have a team and it's just you're a single agent, Ryan Durrani is a real estate agent rather than Ryan Durrani is a real estate agent for real brokerage. That you don't need that brand part attached to it.
Okay.
So, or if, for example, you run your own office like Joe Muck, and he has Joe Muck Realty, or Muck Moves You. I forget which one he trades as, but it would be Joe Muck is the owner or real estate or principal real estate agent for Joe Muck Realty or Muck Moves You.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. So what I did, I pulled up this city in Tennessee, which I'll stop saying the name of. And what we want to do here is just gonna have a little fun with this. We're just gonna look at a couple of different profiles. So I want to skip the first page. So I imagine Dan is one of the top results if I were to ask chat who the best agent is in this market. But what happens when, again, I'm going back to the point of if you feel deserved of being in the results, why aren't you? Maybe one of the reasons is you're on page 2 of Zillow. So let me look here. All right. Beth has 263 5-star reviews, 32 team sales in the last 12 months, 200 sales in this city in her career. Why is she way down here? Because if I go back a page, you see we've got agents with less sales, less reviews than her. So what's putting her back here? I'm going to preface this with it doesn't necessarily mean this is the reason why or the only reason why, but it isn't helping these agents. Let's see. So
it's like saying, I had a pizza last night, and that's not the reason I'm fat, but it contributes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's look at the bio here. I love pizza here. Okay, so a perfect example of the fluff we were referring to.
Yep.
You deserve to find the perfect home, and I can help. Full-time, dedicated professional real estate agent. All right, so I don't see the production. I see links to Google the name. Reviews. Yeah, it's not here either. Right, so that's
like
one thing that's missing.
Who is I? Oh, Beth. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Beth. Beth's up here. So Beth is writing this in first person. So it's not writing this for the machines to easily read. But yeah, the first thing, it's just a big blurb. I think this is probably what most bios in real estate look like today.
Mm-hmm. And it's, you do this, I do this. We scan. We do not read walls of text. We scan for bullets.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the run of the mill. And so we'll get to the structure of how we're going to recommend you structure this. Mm-hmm. Let me grab one more here. Suzanne, 268. So a lot of reviews, 166 sales in the last year. Okay, so no bio. So most agents have fluff, and a lot of agents also are missing the opportunity to put anything in their bio.
Yeah.
So that's a problem too. That's a problem.
But Susan or Suzanne does have a LinkedIn profile I can see. So it's not all doom and gloom. She's done something right there.
Is this LinkedIn? Is that what you're saying?
No, you see the little LinkedIn icon there where it's...
I got you. Yeah, so she's...
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so she's linking her LinkedIn profile and obviously has her website.
So she's connecting some dots.
Yeah, okay, so don't do that. And then we go to page 1. And if we look at the top results here, let's look at George. 173 reviews, 245 team sales in the last year, and 1,700. Nice. Solid production.
Woo! Go, George.
Solid production. Killing it, George. Okay, so now we're getting warmer. So we've got expertise. We could talk about EAT, the acronym of experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So he's talking about expertise. We could definitely expand there. Talking about his credentials. So this speaks to his expertise. The reviews would speak to trustworthiness. 28 years. So what would you change? What would you recommend our friend here, George, do to strengthen the bio?
The big thing that I would call out is that there isn't any... If we think about it in the same semantic triple, there is nothing here that suggests in the expertise section that George Weeks specializes in residential, commercial sales, specifically for condos, etc. So it's just saying the breakdowns of what he does, but it isn't attaching it to him. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like it's the gap is missed between who he is and what the expertise that he has. Same with the accreditations, right? So how I would do that is George Weeks is a Zillow local expert. He has won 25 awards in the last 5 years from Real Trends America, Remax, etc. And then I would put the next sentence would be, here is a complete list of George Weeks awards and accreditations, and then I would list them.
Got it. Do you think agents are not putting it here because it's here, right? So Zillow specifically, we see his name, we know the brokerage he works with. In this case, here's his team. So it looks like he's obviously the lead of the team. Maybe he's also a boutique brokerage. We see the production is all right here. Average price point's all right here. So because it's there, is it fair to say agents are just thinking it's not necessary to also put it in the bio?
Yeah, probably. And I wouldn't necessarily think that or say that this is wrong or historically hasn't been wrong. And it's only now changing because we want to give people, the one up. We want people to be able to benefit from all of these accreditations, all of this cool stuff that they do. And I'm sure if somebody comes to this page from, just through Zillow, that would make a ton of sense. But we want to take this, we want that direct and indirect impact, right? So directly, if someone comes to this Zillow page, that's going to be super useful. Indirectly, not so much. So how do we make that power up ChatGPT or an AI mode result? Is we separate it by saying, George is this, he does this in this area, and here's his expertise.
You know, I'm throwing you a curveball here.
Hit me.
So I went to chat, and I'm asking,
Yeah.
who's the best agent? Our heads are in the way here.
I need my
Hold on.
glasses. Whoa.
Yeah. Well,
Pop
he's
these
not
glasses
here.
on.
You're getting old, man. All right, so we see we've got Dan. Dan was actually the first result on Zillow, and then a few other names here. But the citations, this is going back to the point we're making about Fast Expert. Notice it's Fast Expert. Now there's a +2, so maybe it's also looking at Zillow. Probably is looking at Zillow. But this is going back to giving weight to having and claiming your Fast Expert profile and getting your information there. So Dan, I'll have to take a look at this after. Not Dan, George. George might not have a strong Fast Expert profile, which is like keeping him out of the top 5 right here. You gonna look him up?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now and just have a quick look. Real estate Fast Expert. So Team George Weeks, he is on Fast Expert. So you've got the Zillow page open still, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's do this lifetime and just we can find the gaps very quickly. So if you've got your Zillow, if you flick back to it, I'll call out some stuff and we can see where the gaps are. So what is the address listed on his Zillow profile?
That's down at the bottom. Last time I checked anyway. All right, so we've got 401 West Main Street.
Okay, so it's 401 West Main Street. Yep, perfect. Fast Expert has no logo. The last review that George got on Fast Expert was from 2024. When was the last one that Zillow popped up with?
And the machines love, they have a recency bias. Let's see here, reviews, newest first, 2024 actually, December 24.
So they're marrying up there. And now let's have a look at...
But
so
that all alone could be hurting him by not having
100%
reviews, recent reviews.
100%. Let's have a look if he even appears in the top 10 in Fast Expert. He doesn't. So the team is actually being beaten by individual agents. So it could be in this instance. Now, this is where things get real complicated and a little bit sexy at the same time. It could be that ChatGPT and AI search understands that people are looking for individual agents rather than teams.
Mm-hmm.
So their bias is going to be weighted toward potentially, this is just theory, but you start to notice patterns when you look for this stuff. They're potentially looking for the intent. Now, part of the ranking system in ChatGPT, I'm going to get real nerdy here because I know a lot of people won't know this. The recency bias, the freshness bias, that all makes a lot of sense. But there is an intent package within ChatGPT that says, you know, if I run this question, what are the questions that are going to come out of this? Like when it says who is the best, what does that mean? Is it an agent? Do I want a buyer's agent, a seller's agent, a listing agent, whoever? So they'll start to understand that actually people are looking for an individual person, potentially. So something to consider and think about when you start to reverse engineer what's happening and why.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this is fun to do live, by the way. But let's talk about the gaps here. Let's kind of rattle through the gaps that are costing agents visibility, AI visibility.
Yep.
So the obvious one we already said, claim your profiles, GBP, Fast Expert, claim them. I think every agent probably has their Google Business profile, but I don't know if every agent has claimed their Fast Expert profile. And if they have you imported your production and your reviews from Zillow? That's a must-have. Otherwise, it's just a blank profile. So that's number one. Number two, outdated bios. We're going to get more into the bio here in a second. Headshots even. Headshots, decades old.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. It's definitely not great. Update them just for the sake of updating them. I don't want to turn up for a house tour and it's not who I saw in the picture. Let's keep them up.
Okay. 0 recent reviews. This might be part of George's problem here. The recency bias. So not having recent reviews is going to hurt you, even if you have hundreds from past years. It's looking for today who has the most reviews. Consistent reviews matter. And there's again.
Go
ahead.
I will call out as well, in favor of George here. looking at his Fast Expert profile, he has structured it in third person and very different to the Zillow profile. So again, we're talking about connecting the dots. We're talking about consistencies in information, how it is displayed and how it's structured. Zillow and the Fast Expert are two very different pictures in the sense that George's Fast Expert profile is a little bit more personal, a little bit more about his career, how he got to be a real estate agent, etc. And his Zillow profile is very much, I'm great at this, bullet, 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 bullet. No mention of him, no mention of his brand. So again, a bit of a disconnect between profiles.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So consistency in what you're putting. Use third person. NAP, reminder on NAP. Going back to the gaps. Last couple more gaps just to foot stomp that, as I like to say. Difference
Nice.
in job title, brokerages, just not having consistent name, address, phone number on all of your profiles and website. And the last one, we haven't talked about this yet, but no proof of expertise. So if we go back to the EAT acronym, so again, the models are looking to connect the dots to look at all these agents, but if you say you're looking for the best agent in this market, can the machines find proof of your expertise? Like, do you have market reports for that town or city? Do you have neighborhood pages on the website? If you do, how old are they? Do you have guides for these neighborhoods? Again, if you have them, when's the last time you refreshed them? If you're linking to external sources, how old is that information? So if you say, let's say you created this neighborhood page for Murfreesboro. I keep trying to say it till I get it.
You struggle with that one.
Dude, it's so bad. You have a neighborhood page, and maybe you're pulling in fresh market insights, but that was a year ago. Last time you touched that page, those external links are just not. They're so out of date. So it's not showing proof that you have expertise in that given market, which means it's hurting you and your ability to be recommended as the best agent. So look, it's not just about the awards. It's not just about the reviews. It's not even about the production. It's also about the ability to prove that you have the expertise in that particular location.
Yeah, nailed it. I think it's simple. What's the saying? It's simple, not easy. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not easy to keep up with all this stuff. Like you said, agents are juggling 1,000 different things, tons of other, probably higher priority things to come to mind. But if you want to kind of stop maybe the big reliance on paid media or referrals or your kind of SOI, then think about how AI search is going to not only progress in the next 6 months, but in the next 2 years, next 5 years, 10 years, because this is the long game. Even though we're seeing people get, listings and appointments through AI search now, it's only going to get bigger. So you might as well do the framework stuff now. You might as well get it all tuned up in preparation. Like take a week off, or well, not take a week off, but take the weekend maybe when you're not doing like open houses and just tidy up all your stuff. It shouldn't take you too long.
What's that quote? It's about like when the fisherman can't go out to sea.
It's going to be something to do with pirates if it's to do with you. Like,
man, I wish I could think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, so yeah, when the seas are too rough, like the fishermen mend the nets. Meaning, hey, if you get a slow season, right? If the slow time, it's not time to take off. Go mend the nets, right? Go clean this stuff up.
Your analogies and your phrases are just still astound me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, my wisdom glass is half full.
Yeah,
but you're topping it up, brother. You are topping it up.
All right. Well, AI readiness checklist. If I can give maybe 5 or 6, I'm just going to rattle them off here. So this is what we want every agent listening here to confirm they have this done or do it. Number 1, claim your GBP. That's so silly to say. If you don't have a Google business profile, claim it. And then the more important thing, because I think you all have it, is update it monthly, right? Fresh reviews, add content to it, reply to the reviews. You have to reply to these reviews. That sends signals to Google as well. So that's number 1. Zillow, Realtor.com, Fast Expert, Rate My Agent, complete bio, headshot, logo, sales history. Anything else to add on that one?
Nope. Clean and clear.
Okay. LinkedIn. Going back to LinkedIn. Up to date with correct brokerage and career timeline. Have that information there. Website. Clear about page. Everything we're already talking about. This bio can exist and should exist in all of these places, including your website. Service areas. So if you're in that city, which in Tennessee that will remain nameless, do you have a service area page on the site? Do you have a neighborhood page? Do you have guides on the site? Do you have expertise to even be talking about this, which would, give you the opportunity to be referred to as the best agent in that given market? Reviews, keep saying this over and over again, but you need to have reviews. Of course, it is a signal of, your service more than the production itself, but you have to have fresh reviews. We just saw George. One of the things I venture to say is hurting him in his ability to be in the top 3 to 5 agents is he doesn't have fresh reviews, at least on what we saw for Zillow and Fast Expert. So get those reviews. Tim, I haven't had more than 3 closings this year. How do I get 20 plus new reviews? Well, was there a spouse inside the transaction? What about the other agent on the other side of the transaction? Contractors, like you can get reviews more. You can basically squeeze multiple reviews out of one transaction. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah, no, I think that was actually a nice little nugget. People probably don't think like that. So that was cool. I'm going to write that one down for when I get my license.
Yeah, write it down. And lastly, fresh content, right? So, okay, you want to be referred to as the best agent in your market. You have to have blog content that speaks to living in that town or city, or moving to that town or city, the best neighborhoods in. Is this location safe? What's the cost of living here? Talk all things, be the go-to expert of all things in your market. It's going to help the models understand that you know what you're talking about. You've walked the walk. That's it. That's my checklist.
I think it's, you know what? It's 6 things, but each individual item has little umbrella things to go and do. So it sounds easy. It's not easy. It's simple. But once you've done it, and at least you've probably got some crazy cool saying to kind of cement this whole thing together. But once you've got the framework set, you don't have to keep doing it. Just do it once, get everything clear, and then every 6 months maybe go back to it and just check. Like if it's housing updates, do them once a month. If it's your bio, do it every 3 months. If it's the about page and nothing's really changed, maybe every 6 months. So the cadence is just as important as the checklist. So get everything up to date. Reviews as many as you can, as often as possible. But the rest of the stuff, 3 months, every 6 months should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think my takeaway here is if you don't build your digital resume, AI can't recommend you. Right, and this is becoming table stakes, Ryan. You ain't getting the job. Yeah. This is the new referral engine. ChatGPT is a referral engine, right? So what we just covered here, I'm going on a limb and saying this is table stakes for agents. You have to do this. If you skip it, AI will skip you.
I think that's bang on the money. I think that nails it. And I don't have anything else to say on that. I think you crushed it. I think agents should take action more than anything. Just go and do the thing.
Go do the thing.
Hard work is easy work. I'm just going to throw like motivational quotes.
You're like posters. You're just talking in posters now.
Yeah, I'm just talking in posters. Is there anything else here? No.
The last thing I would do is, if you haven't already done this, go to ChatGPT and ask who's the best real estate agent in whatever town or city that you want to be there for. Look who's there. Do you have more production than them? Do you have more reviews than them? What sources are being cited in those citations? Is it Fast Expert? Is it something else? Sometimes it's Yelp, right? Sometimes it is Zillow. Sometimes it's a website. Sometimes it's press. And I would say focus there. So if the model today in your market, you're not appearing and you see the citations, and again, you have the experience. It's the most important thing. If you're like me and don't have the experience, well, move on to something else. Go get the experience. But if you have the experience and you're not sure why you're not being cited as the best agent, everything we just covered is the reason for that. So go do that quick search. Ask that question.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do that and you don't understand quite, you do the citations, you're not really sure what you need to do, we can do an AI readiness audit for you. We can give you a real deep understanding of where you have inconsistencies, what profiles are missing, where you might need to go and get different profiles, which profiles are the most preferred, and we do that. We do that free of charge. So if you do want one of those, you can let us know. We're going to leave a link in the description where you can apply to get one done. We don't just hand them out. But if you feel like you are an agent who crushes it, you're number one producer, but you're just not getting the referrals through ChatGPT, or some guy like Tim is outranking you, then let us know and we can maybe help you plug in the gaps a little bit more.
Just to correct you, because you said we will do it. Ryan will do it. Because
I will do it.
Ryan's trying to put work on my plate. I don't want to do the work. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll do it for you.
I will do it because I'm out of the two of us. I'm the only one smart enough to do it. I think what Tim means, but that's okay.
There we go. He had to get that one last chat. Just get that one last
However
chat.
I want to position it.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in.
Sweet, love it. I'll see you. Was it next week for number 4? Wow, we're rattling through
Number
these, man.
4.
4 already.
Flying through. So much to talk about.
Crazy.
So much to talk about.
We'll see you
See you on the
then.
next episode.